Okay, so welcome to Gentle Yoga and Meditation. I'm Shauna, sponsored here, and we're sponsored by McGaw YMCA, creating this community. I did see, for those of you who are with me, I did see on the Facebook page, Allison Mann is entertaining goals for the month of May. So you can just share your goals on the Facebook page if you want them or if you have them. Or she actually did a little video, which was kind of cute too. So it's gotten me thinking about my goals. What I want to do. Anyway, all right. So yeah, let me know. Give me a shout out if you lose the video. I just realized I shut a cat in the room with me because my husband's on a very loud conference call. So hopefully the cat does not tip my smartphone over. All right, but you can always unmute if something happens and need to, and hopefully everybody can see me all the way down to the floor. And just find your way into a comfortable position. Maybe have a strap or a belt or a tie handy, and there'll be an option if you don't have that. And then maybe a couple blocks or a couple books. I should have said that earlier. So if you need to scramble for a couple props, if you've got those, that's great. And we'll just center here, centering somatically, so of our body's experience to help regulate the nervous system. Go ahead and turn to look over your left shoulder, which might be a little farther than it's comfortable, and then come back a little bit from that. So kind of get that sense of a twist a little, and then just come back to a comfortable place over to your left. Let your eyes rest on something, an object, the wall, whatever, and then just say to yourself out loud or quietly the color and the name of the object. So I'm looking at a blue book. When you're ready, you can move your head to another position in the room, letting yourself focus on that. And you could keep it kindergarten simple as you're describing it, just a word or two or three. Letting yourself really focus on that. Aha, the cat tipped over the phone. Someone's joining us and the cat tipped over the phone. I knew that was going to happen. Good, so go ahead when you're ready. We're just centering here. So if you're joining me, just go ahead and have a seat. We're just turning our head to the right and maybe looking over the right shoulder. Again, without force, but just kind of getting a little extra twist in there, and then bringing your gaze back to somewhere that's comfortable on the left side of the room, the left half of the room, letting your eyes focus, just noticing whatever you're looking at and saying the color and the name of the object, either silently or out loud. And then turn your head a little more towards the center of the room. Find another object to gaze on. Say silently or out loud what it is. Just appreciate what you're looking at. Good. And then if you've just been looking to the right side because you joined me, you can look to the left, or so look anywhere else. Pick one other spot in the room to rest your gaze. Name the object, say its color. Maybe you notice your breath is getting a little deeper, you're swallowing, you're sighing. All of those are good signs that your nervous system is regulating. You can bring your gaze back to center, closing your eyes if you'd like. And see if you can identify or name 3 sounds that can be in the room, in your body, or outside the room. Let's see what you can hear. Letting that sound move in through your ear canals, even if it's coming from inside. And then notice 3 sensations of where you connect to whatever you're sitting on. And again, noticing if your breath has deepened, maybe some sighing, maybe feel a little differently than when you arrived for gentle yoga and meditation. You can bring your hands to your heart center, create a little space here for dedication, intention, something positive for yourself. And then letting the hands rest back down on the thighs. If you need to change positions, you could go ahead and change positions with the legs if that would feel good. Take any other different position here. Feel, and again, with the eyes closed or open, you can let the shoulders settle down. Maybe feel like there's a couple of nice, evenly weighted sandbags on your shoulders, creating a little space between your earlobes and the top of the shoulders. And just bring your awareness to your low waist, the top of the lumbar. Just kind of feel that moving just lightly forward as you draw your navel lightly back. So just a little tiny zing at the core. And then continuing through the thoracic spine, you feel the vertebra in the thoracic spine slightly moving forward. We're gonna invite the cat to leave the room. Sophie, you're just bringing that thoracic spine forward towards the front of your body, towards your sternum. And drawing the shoulder blades lightly together. So just kind of feeling just a hint. So don't work too hard here. Kind of a hint of a cow tilt. A little of that upper back extension. Maybe feeling like there's a little lift between the vertebrae. So it's kind of starting to polish, de-stickify some of those vertebrae. Good. Check in again with those sandbags on the shoulder blades, evenly weighting across the top. Yeah, so just noticing any subtle differences in the breath, in how you're feeling, how you've adjusted yourself. Let's interlace the hands with the back of the hands on your crown. So palms towards the ceiling. Good. And just check in here. Notice again, is the back of the neck and the front of the throat sort of about the same length. Inhale and press the palms towards the ceiling, straightening the elbows. Good. And then imagine you've still got those heavy sandbags on the shoulders, or not too heavy, but those sandbags are drawing the shoulders down, creating some space between the earlobes and the top of the shoulders. Good. And then just again, finding a little bit of that thoracic extension, just lightly. And release. If this is not feeling comfortable, keep the elbows a little bit more bent. You could also, let's interlace slightly differently. So just re-interlace the fingers in a slightly different position. So your option here, as you inhale to reach up, would be to have the hands not clasp. You could let the hands, palms be towards each other here. Good. And then just gently bringing the shoulder blades back. Good. Lengthening through the thoracic spine. And exhaling to release. Whew. Good, just checking in to see. I'm feeling a little warmth in my shoulders. So let's drop the chin. And honor any movement that feels good here. You could turn your head a little side to side. Yes, if anything's feeling like moving or vibrating, it's always fine to let it do that. Bring your chin back to center. And draw it forward. Inhale, and then as you exhale, we're going to twist back over to the right. So you can bring that left hand across. We're just going to stay here for a few breaths. So continue to breathe here. And notice what you led with. And notice what's kind of bringing you into the twist. Is it this back hand? Maybe it's the right hand. Maybe it's your neck and head. So as you kind of maybe come back a little bit and sort of let whatever took you into the twist not be the primary. kind of settling in, letting whatever comes up here today, maybe some feelings of frustration or resistance, just kind of being with those. Maybe they're feelings you can't even name. Inhale, come on back to center. Go ahead, take an exhale. Inhale, easily exhale, twist over to the left. Again, noticing as you come into this position, what wants to move first? What wants to lead? And it's okay, just honor that. And then just again, release the shoulders. Let go of any tension. So maybe you come back a little bit out of this twist. You can feel the rib cage twisting. Maybe you can feel the abdominal contents and the abdomen twisting lightly. That thoracic spine twisting. And inhale, come on back to center. If you're sitting on a block, you can come off of it or stay on it. We're going to stretch the legs long here. Give them a little shake out. Let's take some circles for the ankles. A few circles in the other direction. Good. I think I can. I'm going to just check and see if I can. Let's see if I can lock the meeting from here. No, go ahead. I don't think I can. Okay, I have to do that from up there. Okay, no worries. All right, we'll do that in a second. Okay, good. So let's take Dandasana, flexing the ankles, taking the fingertips towards your hips, rolling the shoulders back, and then reaching through the top half of the body, the waist up, reaching through the crown of the head, drawing the shoulder blades lightly together, and then heavy through the bottom half. So the waist, half of the spine down, roots into the earth. So finding that length from those opposing, from that rooting down to reach up. Again, and maybe you can feel a little flossing for the thoracic, kind of a little exfoliation or scrubbing through the upper back. And then release. And then while I find a lock for the meeting, let's go ahead and spread the fingers and the toes nice and wide. And I'm going to just lock our meeting here. I think we're good. Yay. There we go. And then release. We'll come back into, let's bring the right leg front. So coming back into Sukhasana, or maybe you never were in Sukhasana. So getting into Sukhasana, crossing the legs. And we'll take the thumbs into the hip sockets. So just kind of pressing back at that crease of the hips and kind of massage along that line as you draw your thumbs back towards the hips. Not necessarily trying to pull the flesh back, but just kind of feeling in, maybe warming up the ligaments there. And this kind of feeling that sense of having the top of the hip bone move back into the hip. So working a little bit with the hip flexors. And then when you're ready, fold forward. You could keep your hands there if that was feeling kind of interesting. Bring the hands forward. You could reach around for your block, your prop, or some books. Come to the forearms and take a forward fold. Again, just being present today to whatever comes up without pushing it away, just welcoming it, just being with it. Joy, resignation, whatever that is. Inhale, make your way out of this and bring the left leg forward. So we'll sit in Sukhasana, other side. And come back again and kind of feel that hip crease. Just feeling the quality, the texture of the joint a little bit from the outside. It's kind of reminding the hip crease to move in. Exhaling to fold forward. You could feel your thumbs there for a moment longer before you bring the hands forward. And again, maybe you don't come too far forward, that's okay. Maybe the hands rest towards the hips, maybe come forward onto the forearms. Maybe you want to bring a block and rest the forehead. Yeah, so find the version that's right for you today. When you're ready, on your next inhale, walk the hands back towards the shins, lift the head off the block, shake the legs out again. And then make your way onto your belly. We'll do a little tummy time here. So laying on your belly, arms stretched overhead, forehead resting on the mat. Rock a little, let the hips rock a little side to side. It feels good to kind of flutter kick the feet and just feel the sensation of the floor. Make your family wonder what you're doing, making all that noise. Good, and then just let the feet rest. Draw the hands isometrically towards your shoulders. And then stay there or come onto your forearms, coming into Sphinx pose, drawing the legs together, bringing the heels towards the ceiling. Good, relaxing the top of the shoulders. And here we're going to go turn the head from side to side. So feeling it again, we're feeling that extension in the upper back. So maybe you feel some stickiness. Just think through from the bottom of the rib cage, and just at the start of the waist to the base of the neck spine. And you could even continue into the neck spine. Just see if you can imagine each of the vertebrae as they stack together, and seeing if you can find a little space between them. Polishing them up, letting them shine. Maybe they move lightly in towards the front side of the body, just a little bit. So no force here, just kind of real subtle. And release. Good. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself into table pose. Good. Just kind of feeling here in table pose. You can always make a fist. Roll up your mat, another nice way if your wrists are feeling compromised at all. You can have a little wedge underneath the wrists, always so good. And we'll try a little vinyasa here. So inhaling in your table pose, take an exhale round into your cat stretch. Oh yeah. Inhale to your cow tilt. Exhaling, you're going to come through neutral spine and then hinge to devotional. Inhaling back to table pose. Exhaling cat stretch. Inhaling cow tilt. Good. Exhaling neutral spine and then rounding back to devotional. Inhaling to table, exhaling cat, inhaling to cow, exhaling back into devotional, coming through a neutral spine there, and stay here in devotional, adjusting. If you need to take the knees a little farther apart, you want to bring them closer together. You want to come more into child's pose with the hands alongside the ankles. That's great too. So let the forehead rest on a block of the floor if it needs to. If your arms are forward, you're going to maybe have a different experience of your spine. Again, maybe feeling into some of that, a little bit of that spine, upper spine dropping forward. And if your hands are down by your ankles in child's pose, maybe it feels really good to just let the shoulders drop towards the earth. So you're more protracted through the upper back. Okay, just get curious. Get curious about your back in this position. When you're ready, inhale, coming into table pose. And maybe grabbing a couple of blocks. We're going to step forward with the right leg into a low lunge. So give the back knee, if this is not available for you, you can just work with the arms in a moment. You could come to standing or come to sitting and work with the arms in just a moment. But let that back knee be behind the hip. So again, be kind to that back knee. Give it some padding. Take the hands to the thigh. Isometrically feel like you're dragging the heel gently towards your sits bone. So we're gonna get a little hamstring work there. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus arms, elbows draw towards the side ribs. Inhale to reach up. Exhale. Little cactus arms here. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus arms. Oof. Good. All right, yogi's choice here. You can hinge back to hurdler stretch and hold, or see what feels good. Moving between hurdler stretch and a low lunge. Moving feels good to me. So if that's available, you can just kind of move between those two positions, seeing what's opening here. Getting curious about your breath. Feeling the breath from the inside out. And then taking your, if you're moving like I am, just end up in your hurdler stretch. If you've been in hurdler stretch and need to come out of it, that's fine too. We're gonna come back into a low lunge in just a moment. But if you wanna hold that hurdler stretch, maybe move the ankle a little bit side to side or point the toe, see what that's like. And then one more time, we'll come back into the low lunge. We'll try a twist here. So we're gonna bring the left hand over the right. So the palm is towards the wall. So maybe it's just there. And again, you could do this sitting in a chair if being on your knees is not available to you. And then continue on sweeping that right arm back. Good. Good. And softening the shoulders and finding a little extension through the upper back. Ooh, so just enjoying that nice twist. Inhale, come on back to center, and we'll step the right leg back. Good, and take a devotional pose. Ooh, hips towards heels, or child's, either one. And then come forward, we'll step the left foot forward. Hey, everybody, okay, good, who's here, yay. Good, Marjorie's here, yay. So step that left foot forward, bring the hands up. You could stay more here if that feels better with the hands on your books or your blocks. You could stay more there if that feels good. You could bring a hand here to the knee. So we want to feel that back knee just a little bit behind the hip. So you're starting to feel some spaciousness in that crease we were working on. When you're ready, inhale, arms can come up if that's available. Exhale, elbows to side waist. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Good. And then moving or holding, you can move back into your hurdler stretch. If it feels good to kind of move between the two, if that's okay for your knee, your back knee, or your front knee, either knee. See what you need today. Ooh. It's finding some spaciousness in that back front leg, however you're working this, and then come to hurdler stretch. If you're in hurdler stretch and you've been holding and you want to come out, go ahead, come out. If you've been moving like I have and you want to hold for just a breath or two. Ooh. And then just check in with that upper back. Oh yeah, how's that upper back feeling? Yeah, and then bend the front knee. Good. Bring the hands to the floor, step that front knee back. All right, and let's do this. Let's bring both shins over to the right. So I'm gonna bring the shins over to the left. Do what I'm gonna mirror. And then you could gently drop that left ear towards the left shoulder and sweep that right shoulder over, like you're trying to pole vault a little over the shoulder. Good, release the right shoulder, bring the head back to center, bring the shins to center. Let's try it differently this time. Let's go the right ear towards the right shoulder. You could shrug that left shoulder up and bring the shins over to the right. Good. And then release to center. So just kind of moving at your own pace, side to side. Shins can come over to the left, ear to the left, and then if it feels good, you can kind of bring that right shoulder a little over, not forcing anything, and then you're going to come back to center and take it over to the right. It's more of a lateral stretch than too big of a twist. And then make your way back into table pose. Option here, if you want to take a down dog, perfectly fine. You could also do your down dog on a wall. I'm going to skip a down dog today and just come into a forward fold. So option to come to a forward fold with your feet fairly hips distance apart. So forward fold. Option to take a down dog first. If you're in your down dog, you could pedal a little bit. If you're coming to the wall, you could press the hands into the wall at shoulder height for your down dog on the wall. And then make your way into a forward fold. Join those of us in the forward fold. Clasp your elbows. Rock a little side to side. Feel some looseness in your neck spine, your cervical spine. Press the palm out of the big toe into the earth. But notice if that turns on any feeling through the backside of the body. Keep pressing the big toe into the earth, bend the knees lightly. Inhale and roll yourself up to standing. Adjust your yoga pants. Whew. All right, come into mountain pose, Tadasana. Any variation, hands, palms towards the thighs. You could spin the palms towards me with a little external rotation. You could bring your hands over your heart. So any variation here, just finding your breath. Feeling those sandbags lightly on the shoulder. So again, just anything that would just feel like your shoulders are floating on top of the ribs. And maybe the thoracic spine comes forward just a little bit towards your sternum. The navel draws back just a little to provide that core support. And we'll go ahead and release. Step the feet a little closer together. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw the hips back. So just coming down comfortably here into a chair pose. Maybe that's a misnomer. And then inhale, stand up. Exhale, sweep the arms back. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, chair. Weight is in the heels. Inhale, press up. Exhale, try to feel the triceps here. So, oh, a little triceps there. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, chair. Inhale, straighten up. And exhale, triceps stretch back. Good. Clasp the hands, bend the elbows. Roll the shoulder blades back. Good. Now you can try to straighten the elbows. Good. And drop the chin. Feeling a nice stretch through the back of the neck. And carefully lift the chin and then come up towards the sky. So just drop your chin towards the chest and then just explore as you lift up without dropping the head back. What that feels like. And release the hands. Nice shoulder rolls or anything for the shoulders that feels good here. Or maybe it's just a shake out. Whoa, yeah. All right, inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Let's have that left hand clasp the right and go over to the left, lateral stretch here. See if it feels good to bend the elbows. Maybe that feels good, drawing the elbows towards the floor, towards where the ceiling meets the wall. Maybe you feel a different take on that spaciousness between the upper and the lower half of the body as you move into this lateral twist. Inhale, center. Good. We'll take that right hand clasp to the left. Exhale over, either arm straighter. You could play around with the elbows bent, isometrically drawing apart. Any movement here for the head that feels good. And inhale, come on back to center. Exhale, release. Good. Take a forward fold. Now, I didn't say to come to the front of the mat, but it'd probably be easier if you're towards the front of your mat. So I'm going to ask you to step your right foot back. and spin the heel to the floor. So you're setting up like a warrior two. You're turning the heels, or excuse me, you're turning your hips slightly over to the right. Down dog lunge. We're going to bend the front knee and walk the hands over to the right and press the floor away. Nice big cat stretch. So keeping that front knee bent. Let me turn sideways so you can see. So I've got my warrior two legs, and I'm just walking my hands out over towards, a little bit over towards that right corner of the mat, or a little farther in. Whew. And now you're going to walk your hands back over that front left foot. Good. You could bring that right foot in a little closer, and now you're going to turn both feet facing towards, maybe it's the front of the mat, maybe it's towards the side of the mat, but your hips are squared. And we'll take a Parshvottanasana here, a straddle stretch, folding over that front thigh. So you might want a couple blocks here. If that's too intense, you can bend both one or both knees. You could come back to standing here and start from here and then fold if that feels a little more available. And actually, I'm also going to suggest, if your balance is a little challenged, take a wider stance. So that's also going to feel a little better. So both legs are straight. Hips are squared to the front, not to the long side, to the narrow side of the mat. And we're feeling that hamstring. Oh, yeah. Good. All right, and then walk the hands back to center. Turn both feet parallel, taking a straddle stretch. You could take your hands behind your head to that little occipital bulge and just traction the neck a little if that's available. See how that feels. Inhale, press down through the feet to rise up and step the feet forward. So we'll give it a little shake out. Ooh. Do your helicopter arms if that feels good. Good. All right, so we're going to come to the front of the mat. Maybe take the feet about hip distance apart. Fold forward, step back with the left foot. Good. And then the hips are going to square towards that long side of the mat. Walk the hands over to the left. Good. And keep that front knee bent. So now that front knee is bent. So down dog lunge, warrior two legs. Nice cat back. You want to press the floor away. You're feeling the back of the right, that front leg, hip drawing back. So you're feeling that crease that we were creating earlier. All right. And then you're going to walk your hands forward. So you might be going towards you're going back towards that front side of the mat. That's right. You're going to walk the hands forward, spin that back heel so that the back toe is towards the front of the mat. So your hips are squared. You could grab your props here. If it's too intense to come from the floor, then you're going to walk around and come up from your down dog lunge. Carefully straighten the front leg set up, keep the feet nice and wide and hinge forward. So wherever makes sense for you in your standing head to knee pose, Parshvottanasana, the torso is lightly twisting and folding over that front leg. More twisting here. Inhale to rise up. All right, and I'm going to have you just walk the hands around, coming right into a straddle stretch if that's available. So coming into a straddle stretch. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, rise up. And then step the feet together. Good. Shake it out. All right. So grab your strap If you don't have a strap, you could grab maybe a robe belt would be nice. I'll give you, if you don't have a strap, no worries, because this is an easy one. There's lots of variations for this one, so it's not critical that you have a strap if you happen to have one. I forgot about this one the other day, and I was like, oh, that one's so much fun. So we're going to start, let's start on the left side. If you have a strap, you're going to bring the strap under the left heel, and I can turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing as well. I'm just stepping on the back of the strap. I'm taking the strap up the back side of my body and over my left shoulder. And then I'm holding on with my left hand. So I've got it pressed down. So again, if you do not have a strap, no worries. I'll show you the variation you're going to take here in a second. And then you can go ahead and let the right ear drop to the right shoulder. So no strap. If you have no strap, you've got the option of interlacing the hands, bringing them over to that right hip and dropping the right ear towards the shoulder, or just letting the shoulder come towards the ear. But if you've got that strap, then we've got that nice reminder here that we're trying to keep that top rib down. We're feeling that feeling of sandbags on the shoulders. And then you could turn your head to look towards the floor, towards your hip. Maybe moving to look towards where the ceiling meets the wall, maybe moving between those two. So just find what works for you today. And then with your head in that lateral twist, bring your face forward and gently lift back up. Release the strap and just take a moment to see if you feel anything different on that left side. Maybe you don't, it's okay. And then we'll try that on the other side. So again, if you don't have your strap, you could interlace the hands to the hip and drop that left ear over. If you have your strap, we're gonna bring it under the right heel. Take the strap up the back, hold onto it with the right hand. It just kind of reminds that top rib to stay down. And then let the left ear drop towards the left shoulder. Good. Turn your gaze towards the floor. Explore movement. If it feels okay to look up towards where the ceiling meets the wall and then look back down over your left hip. You just kind of play with that. Exploring your range of motion. And then just come back into that lateral stretch with the head angled over the shoulder, lightly lift it up, release, and check in with how this right shoulder is feeling coming into mountain pose, any variation of mountain pose. So we're feeling that lift through the armpit chest as the middle fingers reach towards the floor. The top half of the body through the crown of the head reaches up. That bottom half waist down is rooting into the earth to help lengthen the spine. So we're creating space between the vertebrae. All right, and release. Okay, so we're gonna try one more nice standing one here. So you may wanna have a block or a couple books for this. Let's see, I guess it doesn't matter which side we start on. So we'll step back the right leg. We'll step the right leg back. Yeah, that'll get us in that same side. So we're gonna come into the pyramid pose a second time. So that front leg is straighter, that back leg is mostly straight. You have a micro bend. And fold forward, reaching with your right hand for the block. I got it right inside here. So maybe this is it. Maybe again, maybe you take the left hand into the crease here and just kind of, feel that whole left thigh and hip moving back a little bit. So maybe that's it. You just want a nice second Parsvottanasana. Or take your hand, your left hand to the hip, elbow towards the ceiling, and start to rotate. So coming into a revolved triangle. And it's really about, again, the rib cage, the abdomen, the core muscles may move, but not a lot of, we're not trying to wrench this through the lumbar. We're trying to find this flexibility through those shiny, polished upper back vertebrae. Good. And release. Then the front knees stand up, press down to rise up. And we'll step the left foot, or sorry, right foot forward, and then the left foot steps back. So again, a little wider stance can help with stability. So feet can be hip distance apart. Block in the inner edge of the right foot, fold forward. When you're ready, stay right here. Maybe it just it feels good to just do Parshvottanasana. That is great. Take your right hand into the crease. Good. Just reminding that hip to stay back. You could keep the hand right there and exhale to twist lightly, rotating the rib cage towards the right side of the room. Any amount. Pressing down evenly through both soles of the feet. Seeing where you can make this a little more easeful in your body. And then inhale. When you're inhaling, unwind, bend the front knee lightly, and press yourself up to standing. Good. All right. Boy, oh boy, where does the time go? Okay, that's good though. We're doing good. All right, so let's make your way down, back down to the floor. And we'll work with any variation here of boat pose. So bend the knees, let the feet rest on the floor. Start to tone that nice seatbelt muscle here. So maybe it feels like the belly button's moving towards your hips or the hip points are coming together. You could hold on to your thighs as you release your back towards the back wall. Good. And again, you're using that, a little bit of that corsing. So any variation here, you could stay here and see how light you could make this on the hands. You could bring the palms up here. You could get wild and crazy and lift one leg. Could do a little marching here. Maybe that feels interesting. And maybe, oh, but just be careful. It's going to be a little bit of a balance challenge and it may not be as comfortable. I know some of my students, this just being on this funny place between the sits bones and the sacrum is just not great. So if that's not feeling good, you're going to skip it. Good. And then float both feet down. Woo. Good. All right, since our knees are bent, let's hug the arms over, taking a nice devotional pose in a seated version here. Belly towards the thighs. Oof. And inhale, come up. All right, good. So grab your block. Maybe you've got a pillow or a blanket. The nice thing about being at home versus someplace else, you might have a blanket you really like, or a cushion. If you have a yoga cushion, some of you might. That's a great prop to have here. So take both shins. Knees are bent. Knees are in front of the hips. Both shins are going to the left. You could do this either with that bottom shin. The shins are more stacked, or you could have it more knee in front, sole of the foot to the knee and knee in back. So I'm going to see what feels right for you. Exhale to twist towards the right side and then reach over for your, gotta move over a little bit, reach over for your block here. And if you can, you're just gonna make the twist. Maybe that's it. Maybe you can come down to your forearms and rest your forehead on your block. So we're taking a variation of mermaid pose here, a restorative version of Bharadwajasana, Sage's twist. Just to keep this whole twist theme going today. Oh yeah. And breathing here, being present again, being present and welcoming to whatever comes up, not pushing it away. Being interested in those thoughts and feelings that come up. They're just part of you, even the irritating thoughts. What would it be like to welcome those irritating thoughts, those frustrating thoughts? Just welcome, just notice. Trying not to push them away. It's easy to welcome in those joyful thoughts. Good. All right, when you're ready, walk your hands back towards your hips, come on up, and then we'll try that on the other side. Good. So shins over to the left So knees are mostly going forward. Your props kind of, if you've got a cushion, you could just have it come right off that left hip. I'm gonna take my feet a little wider here so that I actually have that foot in front of the knee. Exhale to twist and fold. This should feel yummy. So if it's not feeling yummy, adjust or skip. You could take a devotional pose. Try bringing the block. I found a block. It's a little bit cushy, but a little bit hard too. You could bring it to the edge of your forehead. It might feel really yummy. Come on to the forearms. Find some ease in the upper back. So how can you adjust and let this be as comfortable as possible in this nice supine twist? This restorative Bharadwajasana. Bharad was the sage, so this is a sage's twist. When you're ready, walk your hands carefully back towards your thigh, coming up. Good. And stretching the legs forward. You can grab your strap here if you want, or not. So we're just going to take a forward fold. So hinging forward, hands could be at the hips. You could use your strap. You could reach for your toes, your calves, your ankles, wherever you're feeling that it makes sense for you. And play here. Let the sits bones point towards the place behind you. And feel the chest drawing forward. So we're feeling again a little bit of that thoracic back extension. So you might feel a hint of either just a hint of a cat stretch in your low back and a little hint of a cow, real subtle. Just sort of play with that a little, and then you could try a cat stretch through both the lumbar and the upper back. So shoulder blades lightly drawing back. Chest stretching forward, ease in the neck here. And then your next exhale, you could find everything is a cat stretch here. Yeah. Inhale to rise up. And bend your knees. Good. And roll yourself to the floor, or come to your side and roll onto your back. So if you want a little core work, you could feel the tailbone tucking towards your heels as you roll yourself down. You could again hold on to the thighs and just kind of feel the tailbone trying to reach towards the heels, tucking under. Good. Coming down to the floor, draw the knees into the chest. Take a few ankle circles, check in with your ankles. And there we go. Okay, good. Good. All right, let's press, float the feet to the floor and come into robot arms. So 90-degree bend in the elbows. We're going to walk the feet a little closer to the hips and have your feet parallel. Inhale, press down through the heels and lift up the hips without bringing any, so we don't want a big arch in the low back. We want to feel some stretch through the belly. We want to feel the chest moving towards the chin. Good. So pressing down through the upper arms, back of the shoulders, and exhale to release. All right, option on your second one, you could take a restorative bridge. So you could bring your block or your little stack of books underneath your lumbar. So you could take a restorative bridge, or you could take a regular bridge. So an invitation into any second bridge pose is lightly using the hamstrings and the glutes to lift. Feel the inner thighs, feel the core press down through the upper arms if you're not taking the restorative version. And if you're in the restorative version, just enjoy. Come out if you're not in the restorative version. If you're in restorative, you could stay there for a few more breaths. For the rest of us, we'll just lay on the floor here too. Good. Hands on the belly, just feeling the breath. And then coming out of your restore, if you've got the block under your low back, just lightly lift the hips, slide it out and lower down. Good. We'll take constructive rest, walking the feet away from the hips, walking them wide to the edge of the mat, letting the knees drop together and interlacing the hands behind the head. Or not, you could just have your hands in any comfortable position. If this doesn't feel good, doesn't feel like a nice opening through the front of the chest, if anything's not feeling right with this one, just find a comfortable position for the arms. I've been liking this because it just reminds me to find that opening through the front of the chest, through the heart. Good. All right, unwind the hands. Now we'll take the opposite of that, soles of the feet together. Knees are open, so we've got our bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana. You could rest your hands on your inner thighs. You could rest your hands on your belly. You could also reach over for your blocks to give yourself a little support if that is feeling like you're hanging out too much in your hips. And you give yourself a little support with your blocks or a couple books or maybe a couple pillows. And then from here, you can take your blocks away, draw the knees back together, bring the knees into the chest. Good. I'm going to let the left foot float to the floor, and we'll try a half happy baby with the right leg. So taking the right sole of the foot towards the ceiling, left knee is bent, left foot on the floor. Good. You're drawing the right knee towards the outer ribs. And if you can't reach the sole of the foot, you can hold on to the ankle, you can hold on to the back of the thigh. That's a great way to do it. You could wrap one or both arms behind the thigh and see how that feels. Okay. And then set the right foot down, right foot on the floor, knee bend, left foot towards the ceiling, reaching for the outer edge of the thigh or the calf or behind the thigh to take your half happy baby. And then release. All right, we're going to take the knees back into the chest. Take the knees apart, hands on the kneecaps. Knees are drawn towards the outer edge of the mat. You're not forcing them wide. You're just kind of finding that easy. And then we're going to play like a slinky. You're going to let that right, you're going to roll onto the right side. Left knee stacks on top. Lift the left knee, come back onto your back. And then roll over to the left side. Right knee comes on top. Just let this be a little, just go at your own pace. Let it be segmented, don't rush. Kind of one thing moves and then the other thing comes along as you roll from side to side, experiencing a massage for your upper back, maybe for your sacrum. And then coming back to center, we'll bring the knees over the hips, shins parallel to the floor. So feel the base of the sacrum on the floor. Bring the palms to the thighs. I just want to, we did all that twisting today. So I just want to kind of feel like you're pressing the bottom of the low back into the floor. Core gently engages. And then isometrically press the hands to the thighs, thighs into the hands. So just feeling some stabilization for your lumbar, for your pelvis there. And then keeping the knees right where they are. Take the hands now behind the thighs. And now you're just going to switch up that isometric. You're going to press, try to press the knees lightly away and press the hands back into the back of the thighs. Good. And you're trying to just again feel a little engagement through the core and the pelvis pressing into the earth. So just kind of stabilizing the low back after all those nice twists. And release. Good. All right, knees into the chest one last time. If there's any other pose that would feel good or a stretch before you move into Shavasana, you could put on socks or a jacket. Again, any comfortable position here, laying on your back. Legs up the wall is certainly a delightful and wonderful way to do Shavasana. You could sit, lay on your belly. And feel free to stay in Shavasana after the class ends. Or you could turn us off now if you want to, if you know you want to stay in Shavasana and don't want to be disturbed. You could leave the meeting and then move into Shavasana again. Just stay there at the end. Whatever feels right. And close the eyes. Feel into all the parts of your spine. Feel into each and every vertebra, starting at the base of the spine, moving through that little sort of vestigial tail, the sacral spine, into the lumbar, through the thoracic vertebra, through the cervical spine, your neck spine. It's kind of feeling each of those vertebrae as you gently touch your mind on them, feeling them, having a little more space from the one on either side and feeling them release. Just breathing here comfortably, easily. You feel the right side of your body releasing even more deeply. Maybe the right side of your body starts to take up a little more space in the room. Maybe it becomes a little heavier, and let the left side join it now. Releasing, getting heavier, getting a more spacious. And let the top half of your body relax even more deeply. That place below the waist, the legs, let them release and relax. And the front side of the body relaxing, releasing. And the back side of the body, whatever's touching the floor. Feeling it heavier, more spacious. Letting go. So feeling free to stay here if you'd like, or coming gently back into your body, bringing any movement to the fingers, the toes, the wrists, the ankles. You could stretch the arms up and overhead, stretch the legs long. Oh yeah. When you're ready, you can roll onto your side. Just experiencing a transition from being on your back or wherever you were to being on your side. Feeling cradled by the earth. And then at your own pace, making your way back into a sitting position. Letting the head rise up last. And no sudden movements here at the end of your practice. All easy and fluid. Hands can come to your heart center. And find space for your dedication or your intention. Maybe it feels a little different here at the end of your practice. Or if you didn't set one, you can set one now. It's all good. Let's chant one Om, either silently or out loud, taking an exhale. Taking an easy, gentle inhale. Om. Namaste. All right, thanks for coming. You are joyful, you are resilient. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you're here for each other, that we can do yoga together. And let me go ahead and.
So much, Shauna.
You're welcome. I'll unmute you guys. I'll unmute everybody, but if you're heading out, go ahead and head out. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All righty.